Hello and welcome to another episode. Today I'll be showing you how to make a pulled pork taco replacement using King Oyster Mushrooms. These mushrooms are hard to find, but if you could get your hands on them, you should definitely give this recipe a try. Please note that these mushrooms are totally different from the regular oyster mushrooms you're used to seeing on this channel. Anyway, let's get started. As you probably already know, the easiest way to pull King Oyster mushrooms apart is by using a fork. Lightly pierce the neck of the mushroom with the tip of the fork and pull downwards while applying pressure. Keep going until you pull the entire mushroom apart, including the cap. Run your fingers through the pile to make sure everything is properly stripped, then set it aside and repeat the process. Take a look at the result we're aiming to get. Now you could go larger or smaller, that's up to you. Now that we're done pulling our mushrooms apart, it's time to add our herbs and seasonings. As usual, we'll be starting with some sea salt. Next, we'll be adding some onion powder. Add a 1/4 teaspoon of dry thyme and 1 teaspoon of savory. Add 2 tablespoons of ground coriander. Add a 1/4 teaspoon of dried oregano. For heat, you can add 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Add a 1/4 teaspoon of dried basil. Finally, add 1 teaspoon of mushroom powder. I used porcini and white button powder. Now I'm going to lightly mix it up with my hands while making sure I don't break the mushroom strips. Make sure every strip is properly coated with the herbs and seasonings, then add some grapeseed oil. We're going to add about 5 to 6 tablespoons of grapeseed oil, then give it a gentle mix. Once you're done mixing, set it aside and let it marinate for a minimum of 1 hour. While that's marinating, we can start prepping our vegetables. Start by slicing off a 1/4 of a whole bell pepper. We're only going to be using a 1/4 of the skin of the red bell pepper, so set it aside for now. We also need a 1/4 or 1/2 of a whole habanero pepper. Next, cut 1 onion into 2 halves. Dice or chop 1/2 and set it aside. For the second half, we're going to do something special with it, so let's just set it aside for now and we'll come back to it later. Cut 1 plum tomato into 2 halves. Remove the seeds with a spoon. Slice and dice, then set it aside. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far and you're into plant-based recipes, don't forget to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to Grubanny. We'll talk about the fennel when we get back. Welcome back. For the fennel, we're going to need the bulb and some of the fronds. Using a knife, separate the stalk from the bulb. Set the stalk aside and cut off the bottom. Carefully grate the entire bulb. Watch your hands so you don't end up with meat in a vegan recipe. Remember to use the largest holes on your grater. After grating, that's what my fennel looks like. You could go larger or smaller in size. Set this aside for now. Next, we're going to char our onion, red bell pepper, and habanero pepper in a cast iron pan set to medium-high heat. The goal is to char and partially cook them. Press down on each one of them to achieve maximum charring. Charring will bring out their deepest flavors. At some point, you start to smell that combined aroma. It's really good. After charring, this is what it looks like. It's not deeply charred, but it works for me. Flip it around and press down. This entire process can take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes depending on your heat setting. I know it's an extra step, but it deepens the flavor of each ingredient. Just take a look at this onion for example. It looks really good, right? Same here with the red bell pepper. I can eat this entire thing as it is. The charring on the habanero came out just right, and it has a sweet smelling aroma. Set everything aside, then in the same pan, go ahead and add some grapeseed oil. Saute your chopped onions until translucent. Add your grated fennel and saute until lightly brown. That will take anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes. Once your fennel is ready, go ahead and add your marinated pulled King Oyster mushrooms. Spread it apart and give it a good mix. I prefer to let this cook for anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, but you can let it cook for however long or short you want. Before you begin cooking, rinse out the marinating bowl and add the water to the mushrooms. Give it a good mix and let it cook for your desired amount of time. Mine is 10 to 15 minutes. Let's make our sauce. Over here I have a cup of raw hemp hearts, and I'm going to add my raw hemp hearts to a blender cup. Next, we're going to add our charred pepper skins. These will not only add color to the sauce, but as I mentioned earlier, they are packed with flavor. This is actually the best alkaline sauce I've ever tasted. Add 1 teaspoon of goji berries. Add a touch of water, then add some sea salt and blend until smooth. You can adjust the thickness of the sauce by adjusting the amount of water accordingly. Once you're done blending, pour it into a container. This sauce can be stored in an airtight container in your fridge for about a week, as long as you mix in some pure extra virgin olive oil. We can set the sauce aside for now. So if you're like me and you don't really care for the sharp and pungent flavor of raw onions, then this is the way to go. Once you char your onions, it becomes lightly sweet and the flavor is less pungent. Go ahead and give it a try and let me know what you think in the comment section below. Anyway, we're going to chop our charred onion and set it aside for now. Our pulled mushrooms are finally ready. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of date syrup, then give them a really good mix. This is optional, but you could add 1 tablespoon of coconut aminos, give it a good mix, and take it off the stove immediately. Beautiful. Let's check it out. There you go. Let's make some plain guacamole. Split open an avocado and remove the stone. Use a spoon to remove the flesh, then inspect it to make sure it's fresh. Mash your avocado, mix in some sea salt, and you're done. For the taco shell, we're going to be using our Kamut tortilla from the last video. If you haven't seen it, please click on the link below. Briefly warm the tortilla in a pan for a couple seconds per side. If you know me personally, you know I love food and I love large tacos, so I'll be adding a generous amount of pulled mushrooms to the middle of my tortillas. If you're not into large portions, feel free to downsize, but trust me, you would love this. Alright, that's it. I'm getting really hungry, so I'm gonna move quickly. It's time to add the toppings. We're starting with the chopped charred onions. Add a generous amount of chopped onions over your pulled mushrooms. This isn't regular chopped onions, so trust me, you would want more. Next, throw on some fresh tomatoes followed by some heaps of fresh guacamole. Add some of our fresh homemade sauce with no chemicals and preservatives. And we're not even done yet. Add some fresh cilantro. Then, remember these guys, the fresh fennel fronds I talked about in the beginning? Boom! Restaurant quality, right in your kitchen. Oh no, don't forget the lime juice. Now we're done. Now take a look at this bougie taco. This isn't some taco that you just bought from the food truck on the side of 47th Street. This is a classy taco that needs to be eaten elegantly with a knife and a fork, just like this. I mean, you can't just lose your mind as you bite into this taco because you think it's so delicious. And you need to eat it from one end, not both ends. You know, there are rules with eating tacos. You can't just pick up taco parts from your serving platter and just keep eating it. I mean, that's wrong. You know, oh my god, I'm so full. This is hands down the best vegan tacos I've ever had. Sorry about that. But I forgot to mention, if you'd rather eat American style hard shell tacos, then heat up your tacos for longer than a few seconds and you end up with a hard shell taco. Just don't forget to fold it before it hardens up. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all next week.